Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday night in Manhattan. It is an extremely windy day, by the way. We're just going to be walking around for about an hour. We have a lot to talk about. We are going to be breaking down Microsoft earnings as well as Google. Microsoft and Google reported phenomenal earnings reports, so we're going to be talking about that and more today on the stream. Hey, the ABX girl is here. Bowser is here. Says hello, Tom. Sally says hi, Tom. Maya says hi. How are you? Paul Greenwell. What's up, Paul? Hope you're well, Paul. I am doing very well. Just got back to New York yesterday. Hey, Sierra Friend is here. What's up, Sierra Friend? Amir says evening, Tom. What's going on? Amir, I hope you are well. Vinny Castellano says hey, Tom. Hope all is well. Everything is going good, guys. It's just been pretty hectic, pretty busy. But today it's going to be a very busy stream. We will try to compact everything into about an hour, and we will be breaking down Google's earnings as well as Microsoft. Two big beats on Wall Street. We have Yogi Bear Fan here, says hi, Tom. Jetstar says hey. The one and only Andrew Lee says what up from Queens. L the original says hi, Tom. What's up, L? Melee, good to see you in here as well. Running at altitude says good evening all. Maya says how was your trip? The trip was good. Had to do a couple presentations today, so crazy day today. Crazy day. I'm glad it's over, to say the least. Joey is here, says hi, Tom. What's up, Joey? It is an extremely windy day today, everybody, so just bear with the microphone as we deal with the wind. Santa Monica Rodriguez is here. Charlie Richardson, how are you? Andrew Lease is doing great. L the original says just at work. Nice. So I think we're gonna walk all the way uptown. We're gonna walk uptown today to whatchamacallit, the Billionaires Row. That's where we're going today. Vern says hi, Tom, from Milwaukee. Hey, welcome everybody from Milwaukee. That's awesome. Brandy says hey, Tom. Rhino305 says hi, Tom. We need to put you on GPS to keep up with all your travels. Hope all is well. Thank you, Rhino. It is a very blustery and windy day here in Manhattan. Extremely windy night. Charlie Richardson says I had a crazy day as well, but productive. Very good. RJ says Olaf from Colorado, Tom. Hope you are well. I'm doing very well, RJ. Thank you for asking. Roy S says hi, Tom. Glad to see you again. Hi, all mods. Girl in the curl is here. Says everybody thumbs up. Turkle says, do they sell foam nubs for those microphones? I believe they do. I do need to get a microphone. In due time. Priscilla says hey there. Charlie Richardson says now relaxing and enjoying the stream. Awesome. Girl in the curl says I unfortunately have to run to the store. No problem. Amir says Tom living the fast life. Destructionist says happy hump day in New York City tonight. Awesome surprise. Yeah, so it's been nuts, guys. It's been crazy, but we're back in the city. Flew back to Florida for one day, but now we're back to the city. Had a couple of meetings I had to take care of today, but it is an extremely windy night. And we are here over by the Hudson Yards at Citrovia. And tonight we are going to be breaking down Microsoft as well as Google's earnings. We will keep you updated on that. If you guys have not read the most up-to-date version of the Behind the Street newsletter, you can check that out on the YouTube community page. I see Sunshine After Rain says hi, Tom, good to see you. Go there that much on the stream, mainly because I don't live up that way anymore, but I think it'd be nice to see Central Park, especially at night. Maybe we'll take a walk by Radio City Music Hall. We don't have the skateboard once again because I am dressed in my business attire, because I did have a ton of meetings today. I wonder how long they're going to keep this Citrovia up here. I wonder how long. I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out. Maya says not only windy night, it was all day windy. Lena says holiday season is upon us. Indeed it is. Rhino305 says Tom, what time do we need to set your train timer for? Don't want you having to walk home. So Rhino305, I'm gonna stay in the city tonight. I'm staying at a friend's house, so we are good to go. We're ready to rock, so we could walk and talk and get some things down. What color tie? Turkle, I'm not wearing a tie today. Not today. Yogi Bear Fan. What's going on, Yogi Bear Fan? So no tie. I've been going without a tie for ever since the pandemic started. I've been going no tie, honestly. We may have to bring back the tie. Who knows? We'll see. Fresh Start says hi, everybody. What's up, Fresh Start? We are here at 1 Manhattan West. So the brand new building, 1 Manhattan West. There's a big consulting firm in here called Accenture, which is a technology consulting firm. The NHL is in here. I believe Ernst & Young is in here as well. I know Techno Pink is one of our viewers that works at Ernst & Young. Mark Davis says, good evening there, Tom. Hope all is well with you there back in New York City. I see hello from Toronto. What is up, Mark Davis? Always good to see you. We are here overlooking One Penn Plaza. 92 says, hello, Tom. Weren't you supposed to be in Miami? Yes. I was in Miami yesterday, and I just came back for a business meeting. Roy S. says, we can collectively try to ask Long Island Railroad to wait for Tom finishing his stream. Appreciate that, Roy. That's awesome. Elliot says, stay safe. Fresh Start says, what's the topic for tonight? So Fresh Start, the topic for tonight is we are going to do a deep dive into Microsoft's earnings report as well as Google. And I think the main two topics or the sections of the earnings report that we really need to zone in on is the cloud computing section. So if we think about Microsoft, we can think about their cloud computing offering as Azure, their Microsoft Azure platform. But with Google, we can think about their Google Cloud. So Google Cloud actually missed on their revenues for Google Cloud, but it was still an unbelievable blowout earnings report for Google, superseding its EPS estimates and easily blowing away its revenue estimates as well, helped mainly by their Google advertising unit and YouTube. Disney cast member says, whoa, deja vu, I expected to see palm trees tonight. Disney cast member, we had to make an emergency trip back to New York. Had a business meeting today at about 8 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, maybe like 9:30 in the morning. Lasted all day, but it's very good because we're closing deals. We're getting things done. We are here behind the Moynihan train station in Manhattan. Jackie Jackson says, hi, Tom. Good to hear your voice. Hope your business transition is going well. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that. Yogi Bear fan says, never seen this building before. Ruby Falcone says, good evening. Pleasant surprise to see you in New York City. Thank you, Ruby. Good to see you, too. Lena says, Elon Musk is the richest man. Tesla earnings way up. Yes. So Tesla is now $1 trillion market cap. Tesla is now $1 trillion market cap. And please excuse the wind noise tonight, everybody. It is extremely windy, but check out the color on the Empire State Building. I have never seen the Empire State Building lit up in blue like this, so it is something to see, especially in Manhattan. Juan says, hello, Tom. I bought the Shiba coin $100 10 days ago, and since it's gone up over 300%, I hope this luck continues for many people who have invested. Well, Juan, good luck. Good luck, Juan. I would never buy anything like that, but I'm happy you're making money. That's all that matters. But I would personally never buy anything like that. Fresh Start says, how much money does Five Guys cost in Manhattan? Probably like 10 bucks, 10, 15 bucks. And for me, says windy night. It's a crazy windy night. Insanity windy night. 92 says, Tom, what do you think of Shiba Inu? I would stay away from that. I would never buy that. Amir says, you're going to need a private jet soon, to be honest. This is Amir. Priscilla says, do you think electric cars will be really affordable in the next couple of years? I think they're already relatively affordable now. So one of the interesting things about Elon Musk and Tesla is if you watch Elon Musk's early interviews, everybody would always make fun of Elon Musk and say, hey, electric vehicles are never going to catch on. Tesla is never going to catch on because they are just too expensive. However, whenever you have a new technology, and this is, anybody that really understands technology and growth curves of businesses should already know this, but there's a lot of journalists out there that are either ignorant or just really don't know what they're talking about in terms of tech. Whenever you have a new technology, the price is always going to start out really high. I mean, just think about the first, cell phone that ever came out. those were extremely expensive. The first TVs, remember buying a flat screen TV back in the day and they were like thousands of dollars? Yeah, well now you can get a flat screen TV for like $200. So technology is very deflationary, right? Very, very deflationary technology is. So, you know, the first Teslas were extremely, extremely expensive, but you know, now I think in the near future, you're gonna be able to get a Tesla for like $40,000. So I think electric vehicles will become extremely affordable as electric vehicle adoption really grows out. And that's just with any new and emerging technology. You think about any new piece of technology ever, it starts out very, very expensive, but once the adoption curve really gets going, then prices start to deflate, which I think is an overall very good thing. So that's my take on Tesla. That's my take on electric vehicles. Hey, Action Kid says there was flat screen TV today, disruption service on the L train. No way, really, Action Kid? There was a flat screen TV disrupting service on the L train. Really crazy. That's wild. Linda says just worried about the grid with all the electricity and electric cars. I think that's a non-issue. Fresh Start says one time, Tom, the Empire State Building was for celebrating Blue's Clues 25th anniversary. Very cool. Juan says, I know you're skeptical about it. Do you think you might change your opinion on it? On Shiba Inu coin? No, I will not. Sunshine After Rain says, hey, Royas, I'm great. How are you? Elizabeth says, hi, Tom. How's it going? What is up, Elizabeth? Sunshine After Rain says, amazing color tonight. It is amazing. The Empire State Building looks absolutely phenomenal tonight. Really, really amazing. Jake says 65% of magnesium production in China is shutting down. In 60 days, which accounts for 50% world supply, how to play magnesium shortage, which stocks to purchase long. So Jake, I am not, I'm mainly a technology stock investor, right? I'm very, very skeptical of trying to purchase specific stocks that are dependent on the prices of underlying commodities. It's just not my thing, right? I'm not a commodities trader. I'm not in the market to predict commodities prices. And that's really why I don't buy oil companies. Turkle says all physical delivery of magnesium clearly the way to go, says Turkle. Fresh Start says, why is the Empire State Building blue? I'm not sure. I really don't know, but it looks absolutely phenomenal. Rhino 305 says, Tom, how is Tesla still riding high when all the other automakers have tons of inventory waiting for chips? Rhino 305 says, Tom, how is Tesla still riding high when all the other automakers have tons of inventory? They don't have any inventory. Everybody is short on inventory. And I think if you actually look at the data, Tesla is the only vehicle manufacturer that has done the best with navigating that chip shortage. I think Tesla's actually done the best at navigating that chip shortage. And I think Tesla trades at a little bit of a premium valuation because it's a premium product, right? It's sort of like, you can think about the Rolls Royce of electric vehicles. Everybody I talk to wants to get a Tesla. Nobody I really talk to says, oh yeah, I want the new, I couldn't even name a Toyota electric vehicle, right? So they may not, it's not that they're bad companies, it's just that this is clearly the market leader. And I think if we really want to break down the valuation, and I think why it trades at such a premium multiple, I think we really have to look at the battery technology in terms of Tesla, how to harness that energy, hold that energy, keep it, and store it. And I think the storage technology that Tesla has in terms of power storage is what's really going to drive the growth down the line. But that is just my opinion. Obama says, why does Amazon Air fly to Gitmo? Not sure. Maya says it's blue because in honor of 9/11 today. Really? 9/11 was last month, in September. 48 says, one of the reasons why I like the Empire State Building is I have been there in 2011. Oh, that's awesome. I really have to get back to the top of the Empire State Building. Fresh Start says, Tesla's wheels are very loud. Hunter Butler says, hey, Tom. Hope everybody is well. Turkle says, all physical delivery of magnesium is clearly the way to go. Interesting. I'll have to take a look into that. Darren Robinson says, hi, Tom, from Sydney, Australia. Beautiful color of the Empire State Building. Stay safe out there, mate. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I definitely do appreciate it. So we are going to be walking towards Billionaires Road tonight. And we are right here on the side of Moynihan train station on I believe this is 33rd Street, Madison Square Garden, and the Empire State Building. But everybody, the topic of today is we are going to be breaking down Microsoft as well as Google's earnings. So Microsoft posted earnings per share, or EPS, of $2.27 versus $2.07 that analysts were projecting. Revenue came in at about $45.32 billion versus $43.97 billion as expected. So that means total company revenue climbed 22% year over year, the absolute fastest ever on record for Microsoft since 2018. Really crazy. Hey, the one and only Kevin Sunderland with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, love my 2020 Model S. Only car I've had that improves. Following software updates, my battery range has increased 30 miles since purchase. That's wild. Yeah, if you just think about, what Kevin said, if you're having a problem with your Tesla, and a lot of my buddies that have Teslas as well talk to me about this and say, anytime I'm having a problem with my car, the next software update that comes out, the problems are fixed. Like, think about such a revolutionary technology that is, right? As opposed to your traditional internal combustion engine car. If there's something wrong, you have to take it to the shop. You have to put it on the, put it on the lift and have somebody take a look at it. But in this case, it is just mind-blowing to me that we could solve these problems by a software update. Cosmo Scary says, is Microsoft innovating these days? Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of the most innovative and profitable companies in the world. And one of the business units that is the most important to look at is their Microsoft Azure cloud platform, which I think is going to be an absolute cash cow moving forward. Fresh Start says, have you ever done a topic about Google? We have. Fresh Start, we have. Good to see you here, Fresh Start. Mark Davis says, did you say, Tom, you were going to Central Park? How long are you in New York City for this time? So I'm going to fly back on Friday night, Mark, but tonight we will be going to Central Park. Hey, Brian says, hi, Wall Street, Scapro, and everybody. What's going on? Basically Biz says, I see you are still in the city. So I was in Miami yesterday, Basically Biz. War Walker says, good night, Tom, Mr. Frequent Flyer Man. What is up, War Walker? Obama says, Brickle Biotechnology, any news? No news, I'm not sure. Jake says, our profits from cash accounts from offshore brokers like CMEG and Trade Zero reported to IRS. I'm sitting on big cryptocurrency profits, but scared to cash out. My CPA says I am safe as my account is protected. So Jake, I would really, not to give you a cop-out answer here, I would really defer to your CPA for that sort of advice. I cannot give tax advice because I'm not licensed. So whatever your CPA says, assuming he's certified and licensed and actually has a CPA, I would definitely take his advice. Hey, Sally's here, says, beautiful night. What's up, Sally? Thom USA says, hey man, Brooklyn guy here. What is up, Brooklyn? Welcome everybody. Michelle Cunningham is here. How are you, Michelle Cunningham? Always good to see you. Hello from Peru, says Luke Kester. Sorry about that, guys. I'm getting a call. Mehdi says, Empire State Building is blue in honor of New York Police Foundation's 50th anniversary. Marty Lewis is color of the Empire. How come every time on the stream when we're looking at the color of the Empire State Building, we have like 50 different answers in the comments? Isn't there like one website that shows exactly why the Empire State Building is the color that it is? Pablo says, hello from Ecuador. Hey, what's going on? Warren Drew says, yes sir, I saw the VIX went up. Watching from California, welcome everybody. Action Kid says, I think some big players are starting to hedge. The VIX increased along with the S&P 500 yesterday. Indeed it did. Lydia says, hello there. Question, next time the stock market crashes, how do you think it will affect cryptos like BTC and Ethereum? Well, usually when you have a stock market crash, what you usually have is called a pan sell-off. And a pan sell-off is essentially where all asset prices fall in tandem. So there's really no flight to safety. Usually the only flight to safety that you have is like in a dollarized asset. So dollars, currencies, things like that. And just look what happened during the coronavirus crash. Everything went down. It's called a pan sell-off. But yeah, as we were talking about last week, everybody, this market put in a bottom and all of the major indices blasted to all-time record highs. All-time record highs. And now it is earnings season. And as you've seen, a lot of these companies that are reporting earnings, even if they've missed analyst expectations by a little bit, not even a lot, a little bit, these stocks are getting hit and they're getting hit hard. And that tells me that this market is really priced to perfection. However, we had companies like Microsoft and Google reporting earnings absolutely blowing out their numbers. And these things have been off to the races, up 6% after hours and into a strong close. So my flight to safety trade, as you could say, are these mega cap tech stock growth names. And the reason that is because if we think about the environment that we have now, think about the environment that has been created since the pandemic, government policy has essentially taken all free markets out of the game. So your only option for commerce and to do business is through one of these mega cap tech stocks. So in terms of Google, how are you going to go to market advertising for your to consumers? You're going to advertise with Google. How are you going to purchase things for your household? How are you going to purchase things for your office? You're going to purchase through Amazon because the government essentially has told everybody, don't go out to the stores, stay inside, everything's closed. So all consumers globally, not just in the United States, but globally, has shifted all of their spend towards technology, right? So if you just look at the data, all you have to do is look at the earnings. Google's advertising revenue exploding, almost doubling year over year. Insanity, crazy growth. If you look at e-commerce revenues, if you look at YouTube's advertising revenues, that has been exploding. So I think we really just have to narrow it down to what companies within the overall market are producing windfall profits and earnings. And due to this earnings season, we've really seen that it's coming from the big mega cap tech stocks, the big mega cap players. And the last thing I'll say is that if you look at these individual SaaS names or software as a service, which tend to have lower revenue overall, so if you want to talk about like mid-cap and lower earnings, these trade at significantly higher valuations. Maybe it trades at 10 times sales, maybe it trades at 20 times sales. For example, a stock like Twilio that reported earnings after the bell today, down 9% off of a revenue miss, right? So where's the money going to go? Is it going to go into an extremely high multiple SaaS name, or is it going to go into one of these tech behemoths that are consistently blowing out their number quarter over quarter, year in and year out, mainly due to the pandemic? So I'll catch up on some of the comments. I know they're flying by here. Amazing day, says QQQ. Cosmo Scary says YouTube ad revenue going up 80%. Fresh Start says, Tom, you're missing my comments. George Lopez says, color and celebration of Energy Star for commercial building. Great Walk says, streams. Cosmo Scary says, are you in the UK? British Grey. The Great Walk says, I don't know if it's because I've missed your last streams, but today New York is looking better than ever, says Great Walk. Obama says tech didn't work in 2001. Well, the tech companies in 2001, Obama, were not profitable. A lot of the times, the tech companies that were public during the crash, the dot-com crash, were actually pre-revenue companies. So I think that comparison may be a little bit unjust. due to just the extraneous and unbelievable windfall profits that we're seeing from tech companies now in comparison to no earnings in 2001. British Gray says, good evening, sunshine after rain. Fresh starts is Tom. When you get to Central Park, can you show me Central Park? Yes. Maya says, oh, it's not exactly blue color. Lydia says, pan sell-off. Okay, Tom, thank you for the info. Yeah, so Lydia, and another thing that we talk about, and I wrote about in the newsletter, is whenever we're having a market correction, right? So when the major indices, when the major stock market indices are down, what's very important to look for, it's very important to look for those particular stocks that are going down the least amount, if not going up. Right? Because that's showing institutional favorites in the market. And as I wrote about in the newsletter, companies like Atlassian, ServiceNow, Microsoft, and a litany of other names, Upstart, HubSpot. I said about 2 weeks ago, these are probably going to be the leaders once this market turns around. And sure, often than not, those have actually been the stocks that have been leading the market higher. So it's very important. Whenever we're experiencing a big sell-off in the stock market, it is important to look at the individual names that are going down less or actually going higher in a market in a sea of red. Because those are the stocks that are the institutional favorites that are, number one, being sold less, and number two, are actually being bought up when everything is being sold. Amazing Day says, how about QQQ? So Amazing Day, QQQ is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100. The Progressive Gold Bug is here. It says Russell 2000 value is where it's at. Very cool Progressive Gold Bug. Zap Allen says, hi Tom. What is up, Zap Allen? Good to see you. Lady O, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. British Gray says, Tom, Shiba stock went up today. Yesterday, it was at 46.8%. British Gray, Shiba is not a stock. It is a cryptocurrency. And in my opinion, I would stay away from it, but that is just my take. Atomic Skittle 678 says, could you go to Manhattan West? We were just at Manhattan West. We were just on the west side. Jake says, on my CMEG Forex trading account, I have up to 200 to 1 leverage, which has been very beneficial. But why do they charge so much in fees? Offshore brokers are making a killing in fees. So Jake, number one, I would never in a million years trade with 200 to 1 leverage. I can guarantee you that you're going to lose all your money. And I'm not saying that to be condescending or to be mean or to be a jerk. I've just been doing this a long time. So if you continue to trade with 200 to 1 leverage, you will liquidate yourself and you will lose all your money. I'm just being honest, just being transparent. Obama says, Coinbase crashed today, says Obama. You know what, so I was thinking about that. Probably over the next couple months, I'm going to, well, maybe I will let you guys know. I will probably start a position in Coinbase. And this is very unusual for me because you guys know I never buy new IPOs. It has to be at least a year. But the reason why I think that, and I think I would buy it and average in over time and never sell it, is because if you think about like a Charles Schwab or any of the exchanges, or like ICE, or an intercontinental exchange is what it stands for, these stocks over time always continue to go up. And the reason for that is because it's essentially you could think about it as they're the drug dealer, right? You know, they are providing the gambling to the addicts. And maybe that's not such a good way to put it, but you know, essentially a broker's job is to get you to trade, right? So in Jake's example, they provide you 200 to 1 leverage. They think you're going to make all this money. So they force you and they encourage you to continuously trade because that's how they make their money, either within a market making division or something like that. So if you think about a Charles Schwab, you know, you just pull up a ticker symbol of any of the main brokerages on Wall Street, they're near at all-time record highs. So in my view, I think that Coinbase will be the Charles Schwab of the cryptocurrency space. So I think the main two would be would be Coinbase and Gemini. So I think over the long term, I think earnings are going to start to turn on those on Coinbase. And I think the comparison I'm making is that Coinbase will probably be the Charles Schwab to the cryptocurrency space. Thom USA says that was a perfect way to put it. Says, Tom, can you show me the Central Park Tower? Yes, I can, Fresh Start. Cosmo Scary, the house never loses. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Ren 10 says Manhattan Nights equals the best. Asia Unscripted says greetings. Cosmo Scary says Coinbase has stayed relevant for quite a while already. Felix says, hello Tom, what's up? What's up, Felix? Ray is after rain says good evening, everybody. Dunkel says Coinbase makes buckets of money off people like me. Yeah, so if you think about it, if you go into the Coinbase app and you want to buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum, the fees are absolutely egregious. So that's good for the exchange. So all of these people that continuously turn over their account, trade on 200-to-1 leverage, these are all what you call the suckers, right? You may make some money for, a couple months or 3 months, and you may make a bunch of money, but you will lose it all. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. And especially people in the cryptocurrency space, that's why a lot of people get into this space, is because they're like, oh, I'm going to go on BitMEX and trade at 50-to-1 leverage and I'm going to make a bunch of money. Yeah, they make a bunch of money, but then they always lose it all. They always do, because they don't understand leverage. So I would advise not to trade on leverage. It's very risky, and I would never do it personally. Obama says, loved your Brooklyn Bridge video, AK. I did as well. The Progressive Goldbug says, Robinhood has been hurting below IPO price now. Very cool. Dutchman says, Tom, you're not on your skateboard tonight. No, I am not, because I'm in my business attire. And I was on meetings all day, Dutchman. So no skateboard. It's been crazy traveling. Been really crazy. Brandy says, Tom, I have been looking into Gemini, still learning and researching it. Yeah, so Gemini is an exchange owned by the Winklevoss twins. The Winklevoss twins. Erica says, hola, Erica. Action Kid says, Gemini has not IPO'd yet, right? Yes, that is correct. They have not. Rhino305 says, Tom, when is Tom and Nick IPO going to happen? It's definitely on the way up, says Rhino305. Rhino305, hopefully you're holding down the fort there in Miami until I can return. Lady O says, Tom needs a New York City skateboard and a Florida skateboard. Indeed we do. Ed says, I don't think Coinbase offers leverage. I believe they do on their institutional trading platform, I believe. I think on their institutional trading platform. But yeah, that's essentially how I think about exchanges, right? So if you want to get exposure to an exchange in the cryptocurrency space, let's say this. Let's say you are a person that you think cryptocurrency is actually a scam. You think it's a scam, you think it's a fraud. That's fine. You can think that, but the money flows are telling you something different. The money flows and the institutional sponsorship is telling you that there's a demand for this product in the marketplace. So in order to capitalize on that, what you could do is you could just buy the exchange that's dealing the dope to the addict, right? It's the same thing with, ICE. It's the same thing with Charles Schwab. All of the broker dealers are exceptionally profitable and do very, very well. Because the point of an exchange is they want you to trade. They want you to make a lot of trades, buy and sell, because that's how they make their money. That's why an exchange like Robinhood, they have it like a game. They try to gamify it. Every time you place a trade, there's confetti and balloons popping all over the place. It's ridiculous, because they want to get naive young people to turn over their account. They want you to trade with high leverage derivative products, and then pop some confetti and balloons flying all over. It's actually sick, if you think about it. But That's the Robinhood business model, and it's very profitable. It's very profitable because a lot of people, especially now during the pandemic, take investing as like a game. And you know, they'll YOLO a bunch of call options and things like that. So if you want to, you know, if you don't believe in cryptocurrencies, maybe you just want to own the exchange. You know, that's an extremely, extremely profitable business. Hey, Penelope's here, says they like to keep addicts. Indeed they do. Josh says Bernie Sanders for POTUS. So Josh, I believe Bernie Sanders actually should have probably had the nominee over Hillary, and it was stolen from our man Bernie. Hey, Daryl says good evening from Chicago, Illinois. Action Kid says Gemini has a GUSD stablecoin offering 8.05% APY. I wonder how long these exchanges can offer these high interest accounts. Yeah, so Action Kid, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of DeFi, right? Decentralized finance. I personally don't do that. The only thing I do is from time to time I will lend out my Bitcoin for like a 3% yield. Kenneth says, I say Trump 2024 personally, says Kenneth. Obama says, why did all the old timers hold stock certificates? Melissa White says, hey Tom, nice to see you as always. The city looks nice tonight. Turkle says, Wall Street Scapegoat coin. Exchange industry is a good bet, but there might be a lot of competition risk. Brokerage can be competed too. But little interest from younger people. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, you know, Turkle, I think you make a very, very good point, but I think competition is good because it's called proof of concept, right? Proof of concept. You know, you just think about Amazon AWS with their cloud computing unit AWS. Bezos is like, look, we had about a 5-year head start. Usually on new technology products, you only have about a year head start. They had a 5-year head start before everybody started piling in the cloud computing game. Action Kid says Gemini Earn is like their crypto lending program. Yes. Yes, it is. Fresh Start says, Tom, you're still skipping my comments. Fresh Start, I appreciate you being here. I apologize, but you do have to realize that there are 353 people in the chat, so it is a little bit difficult for me to get to everybody, but I do apologize for skipping your comments. Lady O says Empire State Building is blue in honor of Energy Star. Very cool. So I think it's either Energy Star or the 9/11 thing like everybody was saying. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but we will find out. Jake Gans says, so now the FDNY is protesting because of the mandates. That's crazy. So now they're mad. I'm hearing if they don't do it, they can't respond to calls. That's very bad and doom. Yeah, Jake, it's a mess. I think it's a big mess, but you know, we'll see how it plays out. Jared says exchanges for crypto need fees to pay for custodial security protection. I wonder if stock exchanges have the same cost. Very interesting point, actually. Hey, Sierra C says, I hope everybody has a great Halloween. The ABX girl says, some stock certs were cute. Disney is and was still very popular with the characters on the certificates. Thom USA says, you like Bernie. I do not like Bernie Sanders. I pretty much disagree with him on everything, but I do believe in democracy. So that is why I believe Bernie Sanders should have had the nomination over Hillary, because I believe in democracy. Doesn't matter if I like him or not. It just matters if more people like the other person or not. Obama, what is going on? Hey, Miguel Chavez says, hey Tom, what's up, Miguel? Jackie says, Empire State Building site, you can find different answers there, but when I put in today's date, it states that the color is in celebration of Energy Star. Very cool. Sierra C says, I agree, Tom. Thom USA says, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I'm not a big Bernie Sanders fan at all. I mean, if anything, we're probably the exact polar opposites. You know, me and Bernie couldn't be more far apart. I'm a pure free market capitalist. But at the end of the day, fair is fair. And if more Americans, if the American people want him as the nominee, then that's what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't, you know, nothing I can do. Thom says, I wouldn't like you either way, but like even what you just said. Thank you, Thom. Appreciate it. Marty Lewis says, Bernie did not lose to Hillary. He lost to Biden, says Marty Lewis. Very cool. Kevin Sunderland is not sure about investing in Bitcoin as a currency, but I'm interested in investing in Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Yeah, I mean, so everybody knows my views on Bitcoin. I am very bullish. I continue to be very bullish. And I think any correction in Bitcoin is a buying opportunity. That is my view. That is my opinion. People have differing opinions, and I think that's okay. Hey, Irevis is here. What's up, Irevis? Hope you're well. We are back in New York City. We are walking down 34th Street. 34th Street. Turkle says, I wish the evolution and subsequent devolution of Roman democracy was taught better. Penelope says, love this about you, Tom. Brings a fresh perspective. Thank you, Penelope. Wow, everybody, the Empire State Building looks absolutely amazing. I cannot stop looking at it. Jack CF says, thoughts on Palantir. I'm very bullish Palantir long term. Very bullish. They actually just secured a great government contract. So one of the main things that we just have to understand is that over time, the price action of securities or stocks will follow the trajectory of the earnings of the company. That's the main thing that we have to point out. So when you hear a lot of commentary about people saying this is going to crash, the stock market's going to crash, the sky is going to fall, it's refreshing to just don't listen to any of these people, number one, and just stick to the fundamentals. You know, could we have some sort of re-ration or a re-rating in the multiple of these securities? Yeah, of course. You know, dependent upon how good the earnings come in. But earnings are number one, right? And number two, it's the environment of liquidity and credit risk. And as of right now, the credit markets and the bond markets are telling you that there's nothing wrong. Could we have a correction? Yes. Right? But what a lot of people don't understand is we just came out of a correction and we just broke to all-time record highs. So could we waver around a bit here? I think so. But me personally, I am not expecting a crash anytime soon. Because of a myriad of factors, which I write about in the Behind the Street newsletter, which you can read on my YouTube community page. If the Federal Reserve is going to continue to buy at a minimum $140 billion in assets, and that can include anything from US Treasuries to mortgage-backed securities, and interest rates will remain low, well, liquidity is going to be flush in the marketplace, and money has to flow somewhere. You know, the fund flows will have to flow somewhere. Hey, Fernando, how are you? What's going on? Super Friends in the City is here. Good to see you. Good to see you, Fernando. Jake Gann says, well, if they can't go to fires, that's going to be like a fire show. I'm very worried because they need to save lives. And this is a big worry for people because I don't want it to go down this path. Says Jake. Yeah, I think you have a very rational concern. And I feel for your concern. But at the end of the day, my opinion on it is it's going to be fine. You know, I think it's going to work itself out. It always does. I mean, I'd be very, very surprised if it didn't work itself out. Fresh start. I have seen turtles in Central Park. Which indicator do you use better for technical analysis? I use CCI. I'm not a big technical analyst, to be honest with you. I'm more of a fundamentalist, but really the only time I look at stock charts is if I'm on a weekly chart. I don't do the intraday, you know, technicals. That's just not my style. I'm more of a fundamentalist. I build my discounted cash flow models, and I really evaluate businesses based upon the revenue generation and the earnings generation of the business. I think a lot of people, where they go wrong is they're so fixated on the daily chart of all of these stocks that anytime we have a little bit of like a 5% correction, they flip out and they sell all their stocks at a loss. When in actuality, if they own good businesses, you know, the earnings trajectory of a company over time will propel equity prices higher, assuming you're in the appropriate equity. Tat says that's a very long process. Well, yeah, I mean, investing is not about, you know, I think one of the things that is very interesting about human nature is what Robinhood has been able to do successfully. And I give Robinhood a lot of credit. You know, they've convinced generations of people that, you know, investing is essentially gambling. And it's kind of crazy, but, you know, I think Robinhood will make windfall profits off of it. Because, you know, you log into the app and there's balloons floating around, there's confetti popping all up and down, and it really makes it a game. And that's fun in bull markets when stocks are going up. But I think it does a little bit of a disservice to lead investors away from being true fundamentalists and just trading off the next hot stock tip, which that's really not in my wheelhouse. I'm not saying it's bad. You know, everybody can have their fun, but that's just not one of the things that I would do personally. John says, John from Guam, playing this for the AutoCAD class. Thank you. Hey, AutoCAD, that's awesome. I took AutoCAD in high school. Sierra C says, I'm hoping the inflation of prices goes down. I don't like how it's the norm. This is Sierra. So Sierra, we were talking about that, and one of the things that we can really look to is the price of crude oil. I have a $100 price target on crude oil. However, if you read the Behind the Street newsletter, what I said was, I think we're going to see a correction in crude oil. So if you want to follow the price of crude or the futures contract, it's ticker symbol CL. So one of the things about crude, I think we're going to have a short-term top here in the mid-80s, and I wouldn't be surprised to see crude oil fall to the mid-60s, like $65 a barrel. However, that will be a buying opportunity for crude, and the inflationary pressures is not over. I expect crude oil to hit $100 a barrel, and I think Americans are going to get hit with a second wave of inflation. And I think the prices of cryptocurrencies and even equities have really been telling us that. The prices of homes, prices of real estate have been signaling inflationary pressures, mainly caused by artificially low interest rates set by the Federal Reserve and easy money or quantitative easing. You know, we have to remember that Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve is buying $140 billion in asset purchases a month at minimum. We have to remember that's a minimum. Hey, Joyce. What's going on, Joyce? Lena Sandoval is here. How are you, Lena Sandoval? Irebus says, your newsletters are awesome. Thank you, Irebus. Pat N says, which avenue is this? This is 5th Avenue. 5th Avenue. Hey, Daniel G. from Buenos Aires, Argentina is here. Veneer Smiles says, investing is hard work. The path to being licensed is even harder. Alice is our beloved New York City tonight. Good evening, Tom. Thank you for the walk. No problem, Alice. I hope you are well. Hey, Christian is here. Jonathan C. How are you, Jonathan C? Jake says, Tom, I disagree on your view on Bitcoin, which has almost doubled in 3 months. I believe it will correct and shake out a lot of novice traders, just like Tesla will correct down significantly. You may be right, Jake. Very plausible. Very plausible. I think you're making some good points. So I think what Jake's point is, there could potentially be some irrational exuberance in the market. And I think that's a good perspective to take into an account because, you know, we've had Tesla hitting all-time record highs after its earnings report. We've had Bitcoin hitting all-time record highs. So Jake is like, look, now may be the time to pull some profits off the table because everybody is talking about it. Everybody seems to be buying it. It's hitting new all-time record highs every single day. So we could be experiencing a little bit of correction. So, maybe Jake's right. I think he has a very good point. I think he has a very, very good point. But my view on Bitcoin is that any pullback to the 50-day. So Jake, if you want, check out the newsletter I wrote, because right now we're about 28% over the 50-day moving average in Bitcoin. I think a correction to the 50-day will be bought. Usually institutional investors tend to add to positions on the 50-day moving average. And I think once Bitcoin corrects to that level, I think you're going to see a wall of buying. And I think we're going to hit new all-time record highs again in Bitcoin before the end of the year. That's my view. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But very good point, Jake. Very good point. Laura says hello from Miami. Hey, Laura, I'll be back in Miami on Saturday morning. Manny says, can't wait. De Blasio is gone. God, he ruined the beautiful city. Horrible, says Manny. Gerardo Gary says, good evening. Good evening. Tom says, what borough do you live on, Tom? Well, I used to live in Manhattan, but now I moved to Miami, Florida. And now I stay on Long Island. Tats is in India. We are moving very fast towards electric motor vehicle and lithium ion battery tech and supply competing with China. You are right, crude oil will fall very soon. Interesting. Yeah, so India is actually a very, very good place to invest. And the Indian stock market has actually outperformed over the past couple of years. Daniel Baca says, is Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? I do not think so. David Kumar says, what's up, Tom, sir? What is up, David? David Kumar, what is going on? Debt2PC is here. Tats is very soon, in the next 5 years, we will ditch OPEC and their attitude. India will now on negotiation with them before buying. Very interesting. Very, very cool. So everybody, the topic for tonight is Microsoft earnings. So let's do a quick review here. So Microsoft posted EPS, or earnings per share, of about $2.27 versus analyst expectations of $2.07. Revenue came in a massive beat on revenue at about $45.32 billion versus analyst expectations of $43.97 billion. So this means total company revenue at Microsoft climbed 22% year over year, the fastest ever in company history since 2018. An absolute monstrous beat by Microsoft. The stock is up 4% after hours, and it rallied strong into the close today. So I think what we're seeing is a quote-unquote flight to safety out of all of these extremely high multiple SaaS stocks, software as a service stocks, into big blue chip tech companies that are reporting windfall profits and windfall earnings. So one of the things I think is most important to understand here as we walk past the brand new New York Public Library, brand new, beautiful. I come in here very, very often, is we need to pay attention to the Microsoft Cloud segment. The Microsoft Cloud segment. And this includes anything from the Microsoft Azure Public Cloud, the Enterprise Services, GitHub, SQL Server, System Center, and Windows Server, because this posted a $16.96 billion, up 31% year over year. That's fantastic. That is unbelievable. So if you just think about what that means. Like, try to magnify that in your brain for a second. A company that is doing tens of billions of dollars in revenue is still growing above 25% quarter over quarter. That is just unbelievable growth. Really crazy. Obama says, I will invest in Desi Dara in India. Jay Chen says, where is that library? This is at Bryant Park. What are your thoughts about Shiba today? Shiba is a alternative cryptocurrency that I would never buy, in my opinion. Hey, the one and only Techno Pink, Ernest and Young says, what's up, buddy? What's up, Techno Pink? Good to have you here. Helga says, what time is it in New York? I have no idea. maybe 10 o'clock. Cynthia says, I feel like I'm in organic chemistry. This is Cynthia Martinez. Russian name says, I need help you, man. Troy 1995 says, who defines the expectations? Well, analysts on Wall Street run their financial models and do predictions or projections on the company's revenue and their EPS, or earnings per share. Troy 1995 says IBM is cheap. Bob P says, Tom, have you ever watched Aswat Damodaran talks about Google on value investing? I found both episodes well worth my time. Yeah, Bob, we talk about Damodaran all the time on the channel. I am a massive, massive fan of Damodaran. Damodaran is actually a professor here at New York's University Stern Business School, and we talk about him all the time. He is considered the dean of valuation securities analysis right here in New York City at NYU Stern. So definitely check him out. I have one of his books. It's a fantastic book. So if anybody is interested in securities analysis, learning how to read a balance sheet, read a cash flow statement, build discounted cash flow models, Damodaran is your guy. Turkle says, super bearish on Microsoft long term. Interesting take there. Very interesting take. I'm not sure I agree, but I definitely do respect your thesis. Yen10 says, hi Tom, hi everybody. What is going on, Yen10? Always good to see you. Hey, Steve from Buffalo, New York says, hi Tom. I was not surprised by Microsoft's EPS. Yeah, big beat, Steve, big beat. Big beat. Google with an even bigger beat. Hey, Jake says, I believe Mr. Softy will correct down as the increased stock price was already calculated in. It's at all-time high and can't continue its increased price structure. Time to trade the VIX. This is Jake. I believe Mr. Softy will correct down. Interesting. Very cool. So we're here at 5th Avenue and 41st Street. 5th Avenue and 41st Street. Hey, Sunshine New York is here. It says, Tom, yay, you are in beautiful New York City. Good to see you. Thank you so much, Sunshine New York. I hope you're well. Really do hope you're well. Beautiful night as we are here at Library Way on 5th Avenue. So everybody, as we were talking about Microsoft Azure, which is their cloud platform, so Azure and other cloud services also grew 50% year over year. That's insane. 50% growth in Azure Cloud, 50% year over year. Now, Microsoft does not disclose the actual revenue dollars of Microsoft Azure's platform. So they just disclose the percentage increase year over year. Now, if we go even further and look at Microsoft's productivity and business unit, so if you think about Microsoft's productivity and business unit, this can include things like LinkedIn. A lot of people don't understand that Microsoft actually owns LinkedIn. In addition to LinkedIn, it also sells different cloud products like Microsoft Office. This contributed to $15 billion in revenue. This was also up 22% year over year in LinkedIn and Office revenue alone. That is insane. You know, it's just breathtaking to me that a company the size of Microsoft can be still growing revenues in these specific distinct segments over 25%. I mean, these are businesses you need to own. Really phenomenal stuff here. Hey, Patrick Schultz is here, says, hi, what's up, Patrick? DN says, do you think interest rates will rise for the next few years? Well, we heard Fed Chair Jerome Powell talk about raising interest rates, but I always like to defer back to what Stanley Druckenmiller always says. He's like, don't pay attention to what the Federal Reserve is talking about. Don't even listen to what they're talking about. Just pay attention to what they're actually doing. So if Jerome Powell gets up there and says, hey, I'm going to start raising rates, everybody starts to freak out. It sends ripples through the bond market. It sends ripples through the equity market. Don't pay attention to that. Only pay attention to what they're actually doing. So we don't have to worry about that until they actually raise interest rates. Besides that, it's just anybody's guess. So make sure to pay attention to what Jerome Powell's actually doing. He's been saying for over 2 months now he is going to begin to taper. And tapering means reduce the $140 billion worth of asset purchases every month. He is yet to do that. Basically Biz is, I think the business segment that includes cloud was bringing in almost 20 bill for the quarters is basically Biz. Lisa says, are you going to go up to Vanderbilt observation deck on a non-busy weekday and live stream? Lisa, in all transparency, probably not. I don't think I have time during the day. I'm pretty much going to be working, 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. It's going to be really crazy. Zap Balance says, watch what they say, not what they do. Yeah, watch what they do, not what they say. Tats is my favorite model, is very straight, and I works all the time. OPM growth x sales growth times yearly bottom or yearly top. New range comes as results, says Tat. Very cool. What do you think about Intel and other semiconductor producers? So earnings came in pretty good. But the only thing that Wall Street didn't like about Intel's report was their CapEx spending. So Intel, I believe they just announced that they're going to invest $20 billion into a new chip fabricating plant in Arizona. So sometimes Wall Street can be very short-term sighted and, ding a stock for having too much capital outlay. But that is just part of the being in a business.
42nd of June, so.
Hey, Tats, to see you again. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you so much for joining. You had some very good points and I learned a lot. So thank you so much for joining. Solo401 says, hello, hope everyone made it through the storm. What is up, Solo? Hope you're well. Which college did you attend? Do you have student debt? And would you do anything different academically? No. So I don't have any student debt. I'm very blessed that I went to a very cheap college. I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice here in Manhattan. And the tuitions are pretty much nothing. So if anybody is from New York and understands what the CUNY system is, C-U-N-Y, if you are from New York, you pretty much can go for free. And by free, I mean like $3,000 a semester. So I did not graduate with any student debt. If I can do anything differently academically, I would have probably been a computer science major. That is probably what I would do differently. Hey, Simple Learning says, have to leave, Tom. It's morning in India, back to work. Hey, Simple Learning, thank you, everybody. Joining from India. I hope you guys are very well. Any suggestion stocks for an org? From Shrek. Hey, Shrek, what's going on, pal? Hi from Egypt. Love you all. Love you guys. Hope you're safe. Hey, Amir. We love Egypt as well. As we walk past the CIBC World Markets Building and PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. Right here on the corner of 42nd Street and Madison Avenue. Is it cold and does it feel chilly in the air? A little bit, but actually today I was sweating a little bit today running around the city. It actually was not that bad in the city. It was pretty good. It's just a little windy today in the city. Thom USA says, what would be a good book to understand the stock business stuff in a very self-explanatory way? So I believe I programmed the Nightbot to drop my favorite investing books. My favorite investing books. So I would read all of Phil Fisher's books, Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Phil Fisher. I would read every single book by Peter Lynch. And Peter Lynch is the former mutual fund manager at Fidelity's Magellan Fund. He was one of the most profitable mutual fund managers in history. So I would read One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. James says, how do you feel about David Ramsey? I think David Ramsey's a good guy. I think if you listen to Dave Ramsey, everything he says, you'll be very, very well off in life. The only thing I disagree with Dave Ramsey on is just paying cash for everything, right? Because Dave Ramsey is very anti-debt, because during the 2008 financial crisis, he went broke. And he says all debt is bad, which is not the case. All debt is not bad. It's just not true. So I think for the average person who doesn't have good discipline, I think his advice is pretty spot on, because the average person out there is not good with debt. They get themselves into massive credit card debt. You know, they take on home mortgages that are way too big for them, and they wind up defaulting. So if you want to listen to Dave Ramsey and pay cash for a $400,000 house, yeah, you probably will never go broke, but I think that's just probably, I think it's personally a waste of money with interest rates at 2.89% to pay cash for a house. But look, you know, we disagree, but I think the overall premise of Dave Ramsey, I think it's good. Good guy. All right, everybody, that brings us to Google. Our final topic for tonight, we're going to talk about Google's earnings. So Google's EPS, if you guys are ready for an unbelievable beat, you know, if you want to talk about an earnings beat in terms of EPS that is really a face ripper, as I like to call it, you could look no further than Google. Google posted absolutely phenomenal earnings. EPS came in at $27.99 a share versus $23.48 expected. Unbelievable beat. Revenue came in at $65.12 billion. Analysts were only expecting $63.34 billion. So Google beat on both the top and the bottom line. And their YouTube advertising revenue came in at $65 billion versus 63 expected. Really, really crazy stuff. So just a massive, massive beat. I mean, those earnings, I mean, those are the type of companies you want to own, right? Companies that are increasing their EPS, earnings per share, quarter over quarter, and increasing their revenue quarter over quarter. Those are the businesses that you want to own. So we were outside Grand Central Station and the Campbell Bar, the Campbell Apartments. Troy 1995 says the expectation is so unreliable. Shake my head. I think that the expectations are pretty accurate, but these companies are just I'm at a loss for words, because these companies, the profitability at these mega cap tech companies is just astonishing. It's just insane. James says, I think Zuckerberg should retire early personally. You know, Zuckerberg is only in his 30s, I think. It's crazy. Hey, Photos from Around New York is here. What's going on, Photos? Loose72 says, hello, Wall Street Skate Bro. What is going on? Sally says, beautiful views, Tom. Thank you so much. Zap Balance says, I love everything Google. Melissa White says, well-maintained area. Mark D says, do you recommend, who do you recommend at John Jay College as a professor? So in full transparency, I didn't really get along with anybody at John Jay College. I didn't get along with any of my professors. I pretty much disagreed with them on everything. But at the end of the day, I have nothing but good things to say about John Jay. I got an education that was very affordable. But in terms of the professors there, we did have a lot of conflicts, especially in the economics department. I do not think the economics professors really know economics, actually. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to be negative, but I don't know. Who knows? Loose72, what is going on? James Brumley said, if I were a manager at Facebook, I would at least... You could probably retire off all those stock options, right, James? Manny says, looks like recession is going on now. I feel it in the air, says Manny. I love Google because I'm an Android developer. Awesome, man. That's really cool. That's awesome. The Mighty Bull says, hello, Tom. Good to see you again. Didn't get a notification. Good to have you here, the Mighty Bull. So advertising revenue was up 43% to $53.13 billion. This is up from $37.1 billion the same time last year. YouTube ad revenue rose $7.21 billion from $5.04 billion a year ago. And the number one important thing that we always look for in Google earnings, and which I talked about in the newsletter, is we want to look for the cloud computing unit. So in Amazon, we have Amazon's AWS. In Microsoft, we covered that ad nauseum already on the stream. They have Microsoft Azure. And with Google, they have Google's cloud platform. So Google's cloud platform posted an operating loss of only $644 million. This is down from $1.2 billion. So this is so important to pay attention to. So even though Google's cloud computing unit is losing money now, so remember, they lost $644 million this quarter. However, every single quarter that passes by, those losses get narrower and narrower and smaller and smaller. Could you imagine when Google's cloud computing division turns profitable? I mean, this stock, you think it's high now. I mean, this thing could go a lot higher, and I'm talking about a lot, because Google Cloud has the lowest amount of market share in comparison to AWS and Azure. Could you imagine if it captures the same amount of market share as AWS and it's profitable? I mean, that is going to be an unbelievable cash flowing machine at Google. So that is why I always say keep an eye on that cloud computing division at Google, because that is going to be something to watch. Hey, Penelope says, go on and say it. I had things to say about my photography professors that shouldn't have been said for ages, says Penelope. James says, damn, about to go buy some Google. So again, anything we talk about, guys, on the channel, is only for educational purposes, right? We're just talking about the earnings. I'm not telling anybody to buy or sell anything. We're just having a civil conversation here. Basically, businesses, I'm pretty sure Azure is winning customers from AWS and others, yes. And that was actually confirmed in the earnings report. So another thing, completely unrelated to stocks, if you're thinking about a career, we always talk about this a lot on the channel. Where do you want to work? What sort of industries do you want to go into? So a lot of the times when I'm talking to my friends that want to get into tech sales, you want to make sure you are going into an industry that is not declining. So let's say if you should probably apply to account executive positions at Google, at Amazon, and at Microsoft, because these cloud computing divisions are growing exponentially. So you have a demand in the marketplace for the products and services that you're looking to sell. So it's always interesting to pay attention to earnings reports of companies, because it can actually help you not only from an investing standpoint, but from a career standpoint as well, right? You don't want to go work at a company that's losing market share and losing money, especially if you're in a sales position, because it's going to be very, very difficult on your life. However, if you go into a company that's rocking on all cylinders, you're probably going to be doing very well. Hey, Dogman is here, says, did you see the SEC took down the OTC guy yesterday for pump and dumping? Yeah, there's a lot of, and that's why, Dogman, we talk a lot about that on the stream too. Stay away from all of this, the Reddit pages with the pump and dumps and the Shiba coins and all this nonsense. I'm telling you guys, I know it sounds fun and it's cool and it's exciting now, but I mean, I've seen this time and time again. Anybody, and there's a lot of people in the chat that's been doing this a long time too. This isn't anything new. All of these things that are going up 100,000%, the new Trump SPAC, it's all nonsense. That's just in my view. And a lot of this is all nefarious activity in my view. Darren says, I see lights were off. What's up, Darren? Sister Bell, aka Blue, says, hey Tom, aka Skateboard. I wish I went to a CUNY school. I went to SUNY for 2 semesters and I'm still in debt. Well, I apologize. I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. But SUNY is relatively affordable as well, I think, isn't it? SUNY is what's called the State University of New York, and I also think that's relatively affordable. Thom USA says, you would be great American to run for political office, Congress, Senate, or more, I will never, ever do any of that. Never, ever do any of that. Politics just makes my stomach turn. Business Model says, hey, Tom, how difficult is it to get an account executive job if you haven't been an SDR first? I think it's very easy, right? I was never an SDR. I went right to an account executive. That's what you want to strive for. So in my personal opinion, if you think that you have what it takes to actually go out, meet people, and close deals, then you should go right to the account executive. However, if you're not really good at sales, if you're not good at presenting in front of large crowds, and you want to get some experience, you can apply to an SDR role. But in my opinion, I think you should really challenge yourself and automatically start applying to account executive roles, because if you're good, you can have a pretty good payday coming your way. Hey, Morgan GA, how are you? Thom says, you're too honest and authentic for politics. Appreciate that. Kurt Flirt says, well, Trump is coming out with his own platforms next year, so his stock may not be a fluke thing like many others. Chris says, favorite skateboard? I'll have to get back to you on that, but that's a good question, Chris. Hey, Darren Thompson says, headphones while scanner is on. Photos from around New York says, Tom, CUNY and SUNY are very affordable, and New Yorkers should take advantage of the Excelsior Scholarship Program. Penelope says, nefarious. Nice word, Tom. Thank you, Penelope. Thom USA says, understand what you said. Hey, Swag D NYC says, bro, back in New York City. What is up, Swag D NYC? Loose 72 says, the fall river here is at least 60 degrees all winter. Mark Davis. Other places, nothing is frozen over yet. Well, hopefully it doesn't get too cold. Hey, DJ here says, hola, hola, Tom. What is up, DJ? Dogman says, someone once referred to it as an expensive game of musical chairs. When the music stops, you don't want to get stuck with the bag. Interesting take. Hey, Jake says, Tom, why would you had wished you had obtained a computer science degree instead of your finance degree? You still have time. Even Coding Monkey can pull in 100K with little to no skills. So, Jake, I do not have a finance degree. I have a degree in criminal justice and a minor in economics with some forensic accounting classes. So I do not have a finance degree. But I think computer science, it can just open more doors. And I think that with the business I'm trying to start now, I think I want to develop my own proprietary software, which I do know how to code Python, but I think computer science, maybe I could have started off at, one of the big FANG companies or something like that. But look, at the end of the day, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. I don't regret anything I've done. I don't think you can look back and say, oh, I wish I should have done this, wish I should have done that. I just think that's a waste of energy. So I actually revise my answer and I say, you know what? I don't regret anything. Whatever's happened has happened. So that's my answer. Ken Kramer says, analysts put $150 price target on AMD. The Mighty Bull says, the Truth Network is Trump's social media. Love it, says the Mighty Bull. Darren Thompson says, threw a couple batteries in it, Lady Warm. Wood stove, look in it. David says, hi, Tom from Florida. Mostly clear, 80 degrees, phenomenal. DJ says, missed you, Tom. Hope you're well. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate you. Hope you're well, too. Troy 1995 says, I went to both SUNY and CUNY. Very cool. Hey, Kurt Flirt says, next year, watch Trump's stock jump even further, because once he releases the social media part of that, so many people will gravitate towards the platform. I will definitely take a look. Junior says, where are you going? So we're going to walk uptown towards Billionaires Row and Central Park. But Junior, good to see you. Melissa White says, Tom, please do something about your moderators. Lisa says, when will you be back in New York City after this visit? Lisa, I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to take it one day at a time. My brain is all jumbled up, so I think we're just going to take it one day at a time. But good question. We'll see. Depending on if people need me in here for business. But look, I think, Lisa, what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm probably going to spend 1 week per month in New York City. Deanne says it's important to have a degree, but more important to have ambition, goals, and a plan, and to know how to get along with anyone. Wow, Deanne, that's phenomenal advice. That's great. I do agree with you. Darren Thompson says Joe Weems and the Chief Rasmussen. All right. Anna Andrews says, glad to see you. Great conversations tonight. Thank you, Anna. The Mighty Bull says all of the censoring is really soft communism. David Klein says there will be people jumping from the yeah, let's not read that one, David. So anyway, yeah, we are going to walk uptown, up Park Avenue. But for anybody who is just joining us, we just did a deep dive into the earnings reports of both Google and Microsoft. And I think what we've been seeing this earnings season is Wall Street rewarding the companies that have been exceeding expectations. And if you haven't really exceeded expectations or really blown out your number, the stocks have been getting clocked. So I think that is indicative of a market that is priced to perfection. So I think we are going to see a re-rating in a lot of these multiples in these SaaS names, software as a service. Hey, Rogero Rodriguez says, I am from Brazil. I love New York. Thank you so much for the $5. Much appreciated. And thank you everybody watching from Brazil. And thank you for supporting the channel. And we are coming up on my favorite building in New York, the Seagram building. And we are also going to pass the big cause statue here on East 49th Street and Park Avenue. Hey, Chris says, has Wall Street approached you to hire you? Says Chris. No, they have not, but I did have a job when I was in college. I did an internship at a hedge fund. But Chris, I think I want to stay in tech. You know, that is my passion. I like tech. I really want to focus on tech in the healthcare sector. So in terms of remote patient monitoring, I think I can do a lot of good and make a lot of impact, selling different products and solutions, and even developing products and solutions focused towards remote patient monitoring in the healthcare sector. Because if we look at the data and a lot of the studies that we've been doing with a lot of the startups that I've been working with, is oftentimes when patients get released from the hospital, oftentimes they're readmitted to the hospital not because of something serious, but because of something that can oftentimes quite honestly be preventable. So for example, let's say if we have a diabetic and a home health aide comes to check up on the diabetic and they have some other pre-existing condition where they forget to administer their insulin or whatever it may be. Let's say if they let their blood pressure go out of tune and they forget to take their blood pressure medication, oftentimes this can force these patients to go back to the hospital, and even in unfortunate circumstances they could die just from forgetting to take these medications. So if we can deploy tools in the field to remotely monitor these patients, where these patients are being monitored 24/7, 365, so in an event something happens or their vitals are going out of whack, we can have primary care physicians that are able to remotely monitor and track their patients from a secure cloud portal. So for example, let's say you're monitoring their pulse ox and their oxygen levels are low. That'll send an alert to your primary care physician, in which case they can actually reach out to you and sort of see what's going on and rectify the situation. They could send you reminders to take your medication. Maybe they could remotely remind you to take your insulin, whatever it may be, because a lot of the times older individuals and older folks are at home all alone and they forget to take their medications, they forget to take their vitals, and that can lead to death that can really be preventable. So I think that's the space I want to stay into. I'm actually working with a couple of startups that raised quite a lot of money, and we're doing very, very large scale deployments within the primary care physician space, whittling that down to nursing homes and home healthcare agencies. So I think we can do a lot of good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think that's the space I want to stay in. Hey, Jared says, great med tech ideas, Tom. Important to improve health outcomes and reduce costs for all of us. Yeah. So that's another thing. If you really amortize that cost, you're saving insurance companies, right? Because the insurance company would rather pay a company like us or some of the startups I work with, $40 a month to remotely monitor these patients than to pay a $30,000 or $40,000 hospital bill. So I think you're totally right. Linda says, my mom has a home health aide, pays out of pocket. She is 94, feisty and independent, says Linda. Kelber says, good night from Brazil. Penelope says, you are a good man, Tom. Vitals can be monitored to save lives. I agree. I absolutely agree. French Fries says, Tom, plan on striking out in the Bay Area. I think I want to stay away from California for now, just for now. It's been too crazy with moving to Miami, so I think I want to keep it on the East Coast, but we'll see. Hey, Sister Belle, aka Blue, says, yeah, Tom, I happen to be a home health aide. I have to remind patients about their medication all the time. Hey, Sister Belle, aka Blue. Well, first of all, thank you for what you do. Because when I first started off in my career as an account executive, I would actually sell into the largest home healthcare agencies in New York. And what we would do is we would help them implement electronic visit verification software. So that would make it easier on the home health aides to clock in and out because it would actually register their punch, right? As opposed to turning in physical timesheets. So home health aides do so much work, and I think they're by and large underappreciated in this country. So home health aides, phenomenal work. So thank you for all you do. G from Buenos Aires, Argentina says, I've developed an app for medics that remind patients to take their medication on a daily basis. Unfortunately, not to publish it. Pity. Yeah, Daniel G, there's a lot of compliance and regulations. So one of the biggest regulations or compliance metrics in healthcare is HIPAA compliance. Warren Drew says, human doctors make too many misdiagnoses. MB says, hi Tom, have you heard of the FBI's raid on PAX technology? I have not heard that, MB, but I'm glad you're here. I have not heard that. Hey, the one and only Jimmy Anderson is here. Says, cheers, brother. Hope all is well. My mom is a home health nurse. Hey, that's awesome. Greatly respect that. Jason says, Tom, Jason, what's going on? How come you want to stay away from California? Because I just moved to Miami and I'm too overwhelmed with being between New York and Miami. I just moved like a week ago. So I just want to stay put. I want to settle in, and I just got to relax for a minute. That's sort of why I want to stay away from California for now. But it doesn't mean I have to stay away forever. But I'm just a little bit too crazy at the moment. Is New York Institute of Technology in this area? What is your review of that school? I had a couple buddies that went to NYIT. I believe it's a Columbus Circle. I think it's a pretty good school. Bottomless Coffee says that flight to Cali is too long. That's another reason. French Fry says, Tom, you bought a property in Miami. Congrats. Thank you, French Fry. Jimmy Anderson says, once again, awesome views, dude. Thanks again. Beer and Bets is growing. Again, thank you, dude. Yeah, no problem. So everybody, if you are interested in sports betting or sports in general, please check out the Beer and Bets podcast by our fellow viewer, Jimmy Anderson. If you are interested in that type of thing, please check it out. Warren Drew says, we have gold plane, bronze plane, and silver plans. We have gold plans. Hey, I got a bridge I want to sell you. This is Warren Drew. Joyce says, I don't know, the library was on 5th Avenue. A new stop there, amazing. Yeah, Joyce, it's great there. Jimmy Anderson says, Tom is the man, you were the man, Jimmy. Always good to have you here. Kelber, good to have you here. Basically, Biz says, Microsoft could easily buy IBM, and they should. Very interesting take, basically, Biz. I don't think they should, but I think you have an interesting take, because I think maybe their cloud units would be conflicting, and I think Microsoft's cloud unit is way better than IBM's. I happen to think that IBM Watson is a terrible product, but we will go into that later on another stream, because I actually want to do a breakdown of that. Hey, Marilyn Ringle says hello from Murray Hill. Hey, what's up, everybody in Murray Hill? We are across the street from my favorite building in New York, the Seagram Building, here on East 52nd Street and Park Avenue. Daniel G says, switching to the TV, so I won't be able to chat. Good night, everybody. Daniel G, thank you for joining. Hi, Rebus, how are you? Says, California is going through changes than usual right now. Hey, Realty by Lance says, Tom, Lance here, just checking in. What is this incredible technology you were speaking of? So we were just having a conversation about remote patient monitoring. And I think remote patient monitoring is going to do a lot of good for patients, but also save taxpayer dollars and save insurance companies money. Because would you rather spend, $50 a month to monitor a patient remotely, to cut down on the amount of times a patient is admitted back to the hospital? I think so, because hospital bills, especially in the United States, can be $30,000 to $50,000 for a hospital bill. So if we can deploy remote patient monitoring tools to monitor patients and to make sure they are healthy and taking their medications and keep people out of the hospital, I think that's going to be a big win-win for everybody. Kitchen Lab says, hello there, everybody, doing well, including you, Tom. What's up, Kitchen Lab? Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're well. For anybody who is joining, the topic for tonight, we were talking about Microsoft and Google's earnings. We did a deep dive into their EPS, or earnings per share growth, as well as their revenue growth. Marilyn Ringle says remote patient monitoring is called telehealth. They're a little bit different. Telehealth is a little bit different than remote patient monitoring, but they're also very similar at the same time. Telehealth is essentially you can administer doctor's calls and visits over like a video conferencing call. Remote patient monitoring is essentially monitoring patients' vitals and uploading them to a secure cloud portal that is HIPAA compliant. So your primary care physician can actually monitor your vitals, in some cases administer medications all at the same time, with the goal of reducing the hospital remittance rates. Hey, Junior, what's going on, Junior? Seagram Building completed in 1958, says Aru. Warren Drew says Microsoft can learn that Google employees don't want government. Swanky Yankee says, you are so close to my apartment. I must have missed you on my way home from work. Swanky Yankee. Maybe one day we'll run into each other. We'll have to say hi. So we are looking at 432 Park Avenue here. Beautiful building. However, the majority of the tenants in this building are actually forming a civil lawsuit against the developers of the building because of the numerous problems and issues with the building. Warren Drew says, I also watched Get Me Lit to hit the strip $5 shots. Joyce Carter says, I'll be glad when Tom's back on his skateboard. He's a skate bro. Yes, I hope to be back soon. DJ says, yes, beautiful. MB says, have you heard of killware yet? It's a type of attack where the bad actor intentionally caused harm to the victim. One of the vectors of attacks is in healthcare. Are you talking about malware or emotet? So emotet attacks are like some sort of a phishing email. And that's really how the majority of internal organizations get compromised. is by Emotet emails. So what they'll do is they'll send out a phishing email with a fraudulent link. And once you click that link, it downloads malware onto your computer, and it then can compromise and corrupt all of your files. In which case, the hackers will demand ransom. Hey, Quant says, my friend helped design that building. Lots of recent graduates with little experience, says Quant. Sunshine after rain is really beautiful. Quant's good to have you here. Warren Drew says, Las Vegas in the house, folks. Kelber says, Dia 10 de Janeiro. Can you go to a block where I can see some action, says D. What's up, D? How are you? Lost in the Curve says, I don't think a doctor would be willing to monitor patients out of office hours. Maybe I'm not understanding the model. I think maybe you're not understanding the model a little bit, but that's okay, no problem. French Fries says, how old is Tom? I am 26 years old. Jimmy Anderson says, I'm gonna go watch a movie with my girlfriend Tom. But really, thanks for the shout out. Your channel is awesome and the support is unreal. I'll be back on tomorrow. Cheers, man. Hey, Jimmy, have a good time with your girlfriend, and I will see you later, and have a great day. Marilyn says, there is a scam email out there saying it's Norton LifeLock Security Company, and that your account is being charged. Watch out. Jake says, sorry, no one discussed Google earnings, which beat all estimates. But I believe this may be the top of the market, and I personally see a quick correction. Jake, we actually just discussed Google's earnings for about 35 minutes. Jimmy Anderson says, cheers, brother, no problem. Jake, we did go into detail, probably for about 30 minutes, maybe even 40 minutes, deep dive into Google's earnings. Bottomless Coffee says, I managed to find a free parking space right around here. Garage, great feeling. Bottomless Coffee, that is probably one of the greatest feelings in the world, when you could find a free space in New York City. I totally agree with you. All right, everybody, let's continue on our journey to Central Park. FC Santos says, you should be targeting Nashville, Tennessee. They have 600 healthcare organizations. It is the healthcare capital of the world. Well, thank you for that piece of information. I really do appreciate that. That is definitely going to be something that I put on my list of things to do. So thank you. DJ says, well, I'm saying goodbye. Have a good night, Tom, and good evening to all. Blessings. Thank you, DJ. Hope you're well. So we are going to walk up to Billionaires Row. We haven't been there in a while on the stream. Hey, Steve Rose says, hey. Los Angeles, see you down at Arizona Bay. What's up, Steve? Who wants to live in Rio de Janeiro, says Rodrigo. I do. Sally says, beautiful views, Tom. I always love this building, the lobby of this building. Check it out. This lobby is fantastic. Very beautiful. And so is this building. The 432 Park Avenue. Junior says, do you listen to Drake? Sometimes. I'm mainly more Sammy Davis Jr. type of guy. I like very old school, classic, those type of guys. But everybody, if you are new here and you like this sort of content, we usually stream. And every day we have a different topic in relation to finance and investing and tech in general. So if you want to be a part of it, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do post a free newsletter called Behind the Street that you're more than welcome to read on the YouTube community page. Eve's Journey says, hi, will you shout out my name real quick, please? How are you, Eve's Journey? Hope you're well. MB says, since you like that type of music, try listening to Lawfree if you haven't heard of her yet. I will definitely check that out. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the name right, but I will definitely check that out, MB. Thank you for the suggestion. I really do appreciate it. So we're coming up on the Ferrari building here at Park Avenue. Hey, Jay says, great stream tonight. Jay, thank you so much. Jake says, may I make a suggestion for one of your live streams? Rent a vehicle in Manhattan, start the stream in the financial district at midnight, drive north and view all the streets of New York City with no traffic, says Jake. Jake, thank you for the suggestion. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it. Photos from around New York says fluffy flower bed. Eve's Journey says, thanks so much. No problem. Kenneth says, we're just out walking and talking. Indeed we are. Indeed we are. So we are right across the street from the Ferrari dealership right here. Penelope says, are you going to stream something creepy for Halloween? I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing on Halloween. I'm not too sure. But we'll see. Marilyn says, besides your own channel, do you have a favorite YouTube channel or channels? Yes. So everybody, you need to check out Investors Business Daily's YouTube channel, because they do weekly podcasts with some of the best portfolio managers of all time. So I am always a viewer of the IBD podcast on YouTube. Definitely check it out. Zap Balance says, oh my God, I love Ferraris. Chris says, retired F1 driver Eddie Irvine in Miami. So this is Zap Allen's Ferrari right here. So this one is Zap Allen's. I believe the one in the back is Sunshine After Rain, the one in the green. And I believe the one over here is Sunshine New York. And then the other one is Lady O's. So we'll see. I think this one is Lady O's right here. Lady O says, Tom, what time is your train tonight? What time is your train tonight? So I'm actually going to stay in the city tonight. Eve's Journey says, what is this channel about? Well, we walk around New York City and Miami and skateboard around New York City and Miami, and we talk about finance. Steve Rose says, New York City is crazy cool. Used to visit annually. Love visiting the neighborhoods, breathing in the culture and meeting locals. Not a fan of those areas with tourists with New York City shirts on. So Steve Rowe. What's up, Steve? Good to have you here. Kenneth says, pick me out one time, please. Hi, Kenneth. Pick me one. Hey, Joyce Carter says, signing out soon. Bottomless Coffee says, don't think I'd ever get one of those because it'd be stolen. Kenneth, I think Lady O took the last one, so you may just have to, you know what, Kenneth, you'll take the one in the back. This is Kenneth's, that one in the back. Besides New York and Florida, is there another place you'd like to live stream from? Not right now. I'm just super overwhelmed. I can't really be traveling anymore, honestly. Hey, Basically Biz says, can't believe Ferrari is still here. Cynthia Martinez says, have you had a chance to visit Ithaca, New York? So my brother went to college in Ithaca, New York at Cornell University. So I used to go up there and visit him sometimes. Kenneth says, oh snap, Tom. Awesome, bro. You're the best. No problem. Sunshine After Rain says, that's mine. Hey, Kitchen Lab says, very chill live stream. MB, what is up, MB? This is just another FYI. There's a fintech conference here in Vegas tonight called Money 2020. Wow. MB, I'm gonna have to look that one up. Photos from around New York. Me, I'll settle for a beater on the side of the road. Eve's Journey says, can you show your face? Maybe. Sunshine New York says, you found my car. Yeah, Sunshine, I think you got the green one over there. Ren says, hello, new subscriber. Enjoy the live streams. Thank you, Ren. We're very happy to have you here, so thank you for joining. Penelope says, my car was a Volvo, a 245 Volvo wagon. Hey, Karina Thompson is in the chat, says, hello, virtual hug. What is going on? Walter LS says, which college did you go to? I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Eve's Journey says, I mean right now. No, we cannot. The Mighty Bull says, great hosting skills. Well done. Thank you, the Mighty Bull. We appreciate you. What shows did you watch growing up as a kid? What did I watch growing up as a kid? I mainly just watched a ton of soccer growing up as a kid. Like just a ton of soccer. What about you? What's this store, Yoder? I'm not sure. So this is 432 Park Avenue. Santa Monica Rodriguez says, although I am a fairly new subscriber, I really enjoy your streams and all of the knowledge you share with us. Thank you. Well, Santa Monica Rodriguez, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. As we look at 432 Park Avenue. Eve's Journey says, where are you from? I am from New York. See, the thing about 432 Park Avenue, it's so massive, it's so big, but I just cannot believe all of the problems that have come along with this building. It's just really crazy. Hey, Gustavo says, hello. What's up, Gustavo? Good to have you here. For everybody just joining, the topic for today's stream, we did a deep dive into Microsoft's earnings report, and we did a deep dive into Google or Alphabet's earnings report as well. And we had a lot of good conversation. We briefly touched on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets. Sister Bella, aka Blue, says, Tom, aka Wall Street Skate Bro in chat. Good night. Sister Bell, or Sister. For some reason, it's showing up as an A on some of your comments. But Sister Bell, aka Blue, thank you for joining the stream. C Unseen says, attend the Yale Club this afternoon. Looks like a swell Manhattan autumn evening. Have a nice remainder of your week. Hey, thank you, C Unseen. Appreciate it. 432 Park Avenue is not actually on Park Avenue, as you can see. Indeed, you're right. Gina says, hello from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What is up, everybody from Tulsa, Oklahoma? So Tesla actually just got a massive order from Hertz. And that is part of the reason why their stock price broke to new all-time record highs, and Tesla is now $1 trillion company. Really, really crazy. Eve's Journey says, do you want me to leave the live stream? No, not at all. We're happy to have you here. And I hope you are enjoying Eve's Journey. Hope you're enjoying. Kelber says, Brazilians have heard problems with so many beautiful things in Brazil and put favelas on YouTube. Very cool. So this is the bottom of 432 Park. Walter Elias says, do you think Tesla is overvalued? Well, in my opinion, I think the majority of the stocks in the market are overvalued. However, there's a big however here. We have to understand the environment we're in. So it's overvalued relative to what? Relative to the environment we're in, meaning artificially low interest rates and easy money and quantitative easing, because the main driver of this stock market is the Federal Reserve. So as long as we have low interest rates, companies can trade at premiums, because the majority of tech companies tech companies, their earnings are worth more in the future in a low interest rate environment. However, when rates go up, those earnings are worth less priced in the future. Hey, Carlos says the stock market is rigged. What's up, Carlos? Hope you're well. Kenneth says, Tom, Eve's comment got deleted after you said it was fine. Santa Monica Rodriguez says, how often do you stream? We stream about 5 days per week. Tesla has just begun. Yeah, I think where a lot of people underestimate Tesla is within their power storage technology. So I think we have to look beyond their car manufacturing and their electric vehicles and look at the battery technology and the power storage, energy storage units. All right, everybody, we are almost here at Central Park, almost. Cynthia Martinez says, Tom, do you have asking for myself? Yes, I do. Cynthia, I do. Basically, Biz says Tesla is definitely overhyped, though. A major contributor to their price is Basically Biz. Joyce says, I wonder how long Tom's going to be in New York City. About a week. Lucero says, don't understand the conversation, but the city had me hooked. Looks like perfect. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it, Lucero. What else we got? Lou72 says, a lot of people eat spam. Jake says, Tom, dude, I hate to disagree, but when another viewer asked if Tesla was overvalued and you gave a lame excuse, I almost lost my dinner. Of course, it's overvalued by 20 times, says Jake. Well, I apologize for you losing your dinner. But Jake, I think everybody, we could respectfully disagree, but I think the main thing that we have to understand, and I'll give you a good example, and one of the economists that I've been listening to for a long time, I think he's a great guy, Peter Schiff. Fundamentally, he is right with his more Austrian economic views. However, I think he severely underestimates the Federal Reserve and the power of the Federal Reserve and just how long the Federal Reserve can keep the quote-unquote balls in the air, right? So if we think about a low interest rate environment and the idea of liquidity, right? Because essentially all the Federal Reserve is doing is printing large sums of money by buying U.S. Treasuries and buying mortgage-backed securities. And essentially that and provides liquidity to the marketplace. And also they're leaving interest rates at artificially low levels, so this encourages business investment. So essentially all of these big companies can borrow money for basically free, right? It's essentially free money. So when I say, is Tesla overvalued? Well, is it overvalued in relation to the interest rate environment that has been historically present pre-2008 financial crisis? Or are you talking about valuation in relation to artificially low interest rates with quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So valuation has, the Federal Reserve, what I'm saying is valuation has changed. The way we value companies in terms of price to earnings ratio, enterprise value, that has all changed due to quantitative easing. You know, you look at any company that was a 10-bagger since 2008, all of them trade at like, you know, 100 PE ratio. All of the tech stocks, you know, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, all the, you know, Fortinet, all the companies that are hitting all-time record highs. If you just traded based off of PE ratio alone, well, you wouldn't have made any money for the last decade, right? So I think, Jake, what you're saying is Tesla overvalued? You know, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but based on what environment? And at the end of the day, the market is right. You're not right, Jake. I'm not right. At the end of the day, the market is telling you that Tesla is going higher. Again, the market is always right. I'm not right. You're not right. Nobody knows anything. And I think that's why if we look at Stanley Druckenmiller and some of the greatest traders alive, they're like, the trend is your friend. And what is the Federal Reserve doing? Hey, Kurt Flirt says, damn, I wish I could have gotten into Zscaler when it... Yeah, I think the CEO of Zscaler owns like 40% of the company. Lost in the Curve says, my guess is Tesla will eventually get into housing, designing construction of modular, new ways of thinking about houses and other living environments. Exploration is not even close to overvalued. If you think it is, you only think Tesla just makes cars. Very interesting. Jack L says, I think you're completely right. Schiff fundamentally understands economics well, but does underestimate the Fed's ability to keep kicking the can down the road and retail investors' stupidity. Yeah, and I mean, look, if there's one economist that I agree with, and I think he is fantastic, it's Peter Schiff. But he's been fundamentally wrong and he has not made money. If you look at Euro Pacific Capital, he has not made money for his clients. And at the end of the day, on Wall Street, unfortunately, what matters is, are you making money? It doesn't matter how smart you are. You could have a billion PhDs. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day is, are you making money? And Peter Schiff has not made money for the last 2 decades. Loose72 says Druckenmiller's name should be worth something. Kurt Flirt says fair analysis there. No, but I mean, honestly, I tend to think Jake makes a fair point. I really do. I tend to think he makes a fair point. Carlos, what's going on, Carlos? Brock says, Tom, do you believe in Dogman? Not sure what that is. Carlos says, the Federal Reserve prints money to pay itself. Kelber says, where are you? We're close to the World Trade Center. We are close to Central Park. What's the best platform to buy cryptocurrencies and altcoins? I don't buy altcoins, so I can't advise on that. Hey, Alexandria says, good evening, Tom. What's up, Alexandria? Jensen says, hi, friend. How's it going? I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm enjoying your videos. I want to go to Manhattan. It's a pretty city. I'm a flight attendant. Wow, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you for being here. Marcelo, how are you? Jack L says, love Peter Schiff. Kenneth, I'm not sure what the mods are doing. I apologize. Jetstar says firefighters taking 250 of Tesla's electric trucks. Hey, Lay Does here. What's going on? How are you? Let's see. Hey, Chaudry says, hi, Tom. Welcome back to New York. Jake says Tesla current price is $1,061 and EPS $3.08, short of 350 times expected earnings. I believe Tesla will crash and burn. Unfortunately, will take down a lot of people. Stay cool, Tom. And Jake, you may be right. You may be right. And when that trend changes, I guess we'll change with the trend. Jack L says, what I would do is use a hardware wallet, decentralized exchange. Hey, Jackie M says, hello from Los Angeles. How are you? Jackie M from Los Angeles. Hope you're well. Leda says, sounds like New York City. Yeah, it is a windy one. Steve Rose says, Tom, these people walking around this time of night, are they locals? Yes, probably. probably locals. So we're very close to Central Park. So back to Jake's point about Tesla crashing and burning. He could be right. But at the end of the day, the market is always right. So if Tesla wants to crash and burn, that's fine. When that trend changes, we will be on that side of the trend. I sort of tend to follow like the Stanley Druckenmiller, the Paul Tudor Jones style. You know, I don't try to pick tops, I don't try to pick bottoms. You know, I just try to get the major majority of the trend. You know, and if you look at the last time Tesla had a major crash was during the coronavirus pandemic. I believe it fell over 50%. And actually, I think back in February, Tesla topped out and fell over 50% too. So it's a very volatile stock. So if it wants to change course and change trend, we will definitely accommodate and change right with it. Lou72 says, I have noticed more Tesla charging ports. The present time, I'm not sure the present time. Monica says, wow, you're really moving out there, Jackie. How exciting. Cynthia Martinez is pretty cool how 432 Park Avenue building has lots of paintings downstairs. As first, I thought it was a gallery. Yeah, I thought so too. I think they get some sort of subsidy from the city because technically they make a public park right next to 432 Park Avenue. So I think the developers did that to get a tax break, I believe. Desi says, by the way, best hotel under $150. I would honestly just use Airbnb on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Exploration says, how will it crash and burn with 2 new factories coming online soon? Revamping another to produce gigapacks. Is that you, Gordon Johnson? And the Bears, I think everybody is 50-50 in the chat on Tesla. I do not own Tesla outright. I do own Tesla in the form of an index, you know, and just my long-term retirement accounts, a DCA into the S&P 500. That's where I have my exposure to Tesla. My God, it's so windy. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, the wind is insane. Jonathan C says 100,000 Teslas will be at Hertz's parking lot. Just think of all that will rent these cars out. Of curiosity, says Jonathan C. Whew, wow, so we are on Central Park South, everybody. We are headed towards Columbus Circle. Kelber says there is some AutoZone nearby. I work at an AutoZone here in Brazil. That's fantastic. Desi says the storm is coming. I have been on standby working for the utilities company in the area. Well, thank you for what you do. That's awesome. Zap Balance says, oh my God, the wind, Tom, the house began to twitch. The kitchen's in the ditch. Jackie M says, who is the live vlogger? What's your name, dude? My name is Tom. So we usually live stream about 5 days a week, but we're usually on a skateboarding around New York City and Miami, and we talk about finance. So the topic of today's stream was Google's earnings as well as Microsoft's earnings. We did a very deep dive analysis into Google and Microsoft's earnings. But Jackie M, thank you for joining, and we hope to see you on other streams. Mike says terrible wind. I understand it will be lasting another day or two. It is terrible wind. Really, really crazy. Al J says hi, Tom and everybody. What is up, Al J? So everybody, we're actually outside my old building. So now that I moved out, I guess I could disclose where I lived. This is the old apartment right here. MB says, Tom, signing off for tonight. Thanks again and take care. Catch you on the next stream. Thank you, MB. Appreciate you. Jackie M says, I detect your New York accent. Thank you, Jackie. Photos from around New York says 5K a month now. Yes. 5K a month. I think my window is right here. Right there. Jackie M says, soon I will have a Chicago, LA, and New York accent. That's awesome. That's awesome. War Walker said, did somebody rent your apartment? Yeah, so I moved out and I got a great deal on it because I rented it during the coronavirus pandemic. I got it for just a hair under $2,000. And then when I moved out, they just rented it for like $4,300. Insanity. Just insane. I would never pay that. Hey, Jake says, thanks, Tom. You're a bright young guy with a great future. Sincere question, where do tourists go to the bathroom in Manhattan? In the middle of the night when everything is closed. So good, Jake, that's actually a good question. It's actually a really good question, Jake. So the hidden bathrooms are in Penn Station and Grand Central Station. So if anybody is a tourist in New York and you need to use the bathroom 24/7, if you go into Grand Central Station or Penn Station, those bathrooms are open 24/7. Hey, Ren says, hi, Tom. What's up, Ren? Good to see you. Good to see you here. War Walker says, rich folks. So War Walker, check out this building. So this building here has all like just nonsense, honestly. Like rich people come in and buy all of this bougie stuff for their apartments. To me, I mean, look, I'm not hating, but to me it looks a little bit tacky, to be honest. What do you guys think? And again, I'm not being a hater, I'm just saying it's a little bit ridiculous. I mean, it just looks too gaudy to me, honestly. Jackie M says, I'm going to be in Riverdale soon. Well, I hope you have a fantastic time in Riverdale, Jackie M. John says, hey, Tom. Thank you. Will you be? John says, hey, Tom, thank you. Will you be videos like this from Florida? Yes. So we have already done live streams in Florida before. Latha is very Trump-esque. That's funny. Latha, that's actually pretty funny. Marilyn Ringo says, what's your favorite type of music? I like Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack, all of the old classics. That's my favorite. So Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, all the old ones. What street is this? This is West 57th Street and 6th Avenue, Billionaires Row. Hey Christian, how are you? FC Santos is very expensive. What's up, FC Santos? Hope you're well. Mike's is very wasteful of their money. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just not my style. Yeah, it's tacky, right, Ben? Looks a little... I don't know. I would just never buy anything like that. I mean, I don't know where I would put any of that. Hey, Lisa said, did the noise from the street ever wake you up in your apartment? No, my apartment was like, that thing was like crazy. That thing was soundproof, everything proof. That thing was really, really nice. Lady O says, wow, $4,300 a month. That is crazy. That is really, really crazy. Hey, John says, Guam AutoCAD class signing off for now. Guam is a great place. I would like to visit Guam one day. Hi, Reva says, I guess you have a chandelier in a humongous house. You barely notice it. That's true, Irevis. So I used to take a lot of AutoCAD classes. Roz999, do you ever walk in Central Park at night? Yeah, when I used to live in this building, right here. I used to go running in Central Park all the time at night. Mike says to live somewhat close to Times Square, you would have to pull down some serious coin just to pay the rent there, says Mike. Penelope says, better to get an app for your phone on public restrooms than one of those tacky chandeliers. Yeah, Penelope, I think you're right. Christian says, Guam is an American territory. Yes, it is. Desi says, all right, Tom, I am out. Looking forward to being in the same city in less than 3 days. Hey, Desi, that's awesome. I think you're going to love New York. John C says, can you knock on the door of your building on Billionaires Row and ask if they have gray... I don't know what that is, John C. Christian says, Guam is an American territory. Indeed. MB says, Tom, if Zuckerberg ever offered you a job, would you work for them? Yeah, and if Mark Zuckerberg personally offered me a job, like personally, yeah, probably. Hey, greetings from Kosovo. Darren says, what time is it there? I'm not sure what time is it. Could anybody do a time check in the comments? So this stuff is actually kind of cool. I like this painting right in here. But look at all of the chandeliers in here, crazy. Even with all the problems at Facebook, you would still work for that guy. Well, I think if I was ever offered a job at Facebook, I would probably want to do a very, very specific job. And I would probably want to work on developing the metaverse. So probably do something with the Oculus. I don't know, I think it would be a good learning experience. I'm not saying that Mark Zuckerberg's the greatest guy in the world. But I think it would be a good learning experience if I got to work in a specific department that I could. Who knows? Maybe Zuckerberg's watching the stream right now. You never know. So everybody, this is the Russian Tea Room. This is actually a very famous place right here on 57th Street. It's called the Russian Tea Room. Has anybody in the chat ever been to the Russian Tea Room? Very, very famous place. Gemini says, I'm developing a game for Oculus devices. Very cool. Do you think the metaverse is a big thing? I think it's more than a big thing. I think it's everything. I think the metaverse is going to be everything. I worked at Russian Tea Room in Chicago, says Jackie M. Very cool. Zuck is from New York. He is from New York. Facebook pays a good salary. Indeed they do. Yeah, I think the metaverse is going to be a big thing. I think it is. But if I had to go back and work for a company, I think I would want to work in a cybersecurity company. So I would probably work at Zscaler or CrowdStrike if I had to choose. Or there's a company that specializes in IAM software. So IAM is an acronym for Identity and Access Management. So I would want to do something with that. Probably in sales, honestly. Hey, Bruce Wayne says 157, indeed. Carnegie Hall across the street, indeed. It is. So everybody, we are coming up on 10% battery. My battery is going to die. But I do appreciate everybody who's been joining the streams. I appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. Bang says, do you like the snow? I do not like the snow. Ron says, last time I was in New York City was in 1964 at the World's Fair. Hey, that's awesome. Hey, William's here. Hey, how are you guys? Lisa says, have you eaten at the Russian Tea House? I have not eaten at the Russian Tea Room yet. Jake says, Tom, have you ever woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning to trade pre-market? I have a friend who is a prior gambler, compulsive gambler, and now trades at 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. I guess my friend is a compulsive gambler. Jake, I have never done that because I don't trade pre-market and I don't trade futures. Hey, Soho guys here. This is Good Night, Tom. Jake, I'm mainly a position size trader, right? So I don't do intraday trading. I usually tend to companies that are growing their earnings at 25% compounded out quarter over quarter or per annum. I like to look for specific stocks that have at least 25% plus return on equity, high pre-tax margins, after-tax margins, massive TAM, so big total addressable market. And then I like to build massive position sizes and hold for a long time, usually probably about 6 months to a year. Because if you look at the statistics, you really need to be in these names through earning cycles, because the biggest majority of the moves actually happen after hours, after these earnings events. So you need to be willing to hold through earnings. Elle says, Tom, did you see about Shiba, the cryptocurrency? My boyfriend has been boasting about it all day. So Elle, I would personally stay away from all that stuff, but again, that's just my opinion. I don't touch any of that. Alternative coins, I think the majority of them, it's going to end badly for a lot of people. Dutchman says, Tom, what antivirus software do you use? I think Symantec products are pretty good. Jackie M says, Tom, how long have you lived in New York City? Long time. But I am from Long Island, New York. All right, everybody. Atlassian is reporting earnings, which is an Australian software company. CEO is Michael Cannon-Brookes. I've owned that stock pretty much since IPO. But if earnings disappoint, I think the stock's going to be down big. However, we'll just have to see. So earnings is still going on, but my phone is going to die. But I do appreciate everybody joining. I have to sign off now, unfortunately, because I'm on 5% battery. But I appreciate it, everybody, for joining. If you'd like to see more of this content, you can feel free to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this stream. Make it a very productive week ahead. Marty Lewis is Good Night, Tom. Yen 10. So everybody, have a productive week. We're going into Thursday, the tail end of the week. Try to finish strong, try to be positive, be optimistic, because optimists always prevail. Appreciate everybody joining tonight. And as always, the Mighty Bull. Have a good night to the Mighty Bull wherever you are. Because as we know, there is always a bull market somewhere. We just need to know where to look. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.